Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. It appears so, but I always like to get that confirmation if we can. Sorry, my voice is a little bit off today. Practice last night and it was weird. I had like a sore throat afterwards. I don't know if it's just all the allergies or I don't know what it is. Clear? Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it, sir. All right. So we just had our non-farm payroll numbers come in. And our CAD data. The CAD data is absolutely crazy, right? They were expecting to have 20,000 positive, lost 43,000, but yet dropped point 0.2. I think that's absolutely insane. Um, kind of a weird, um, kind of a weird, um, you know, kind of a strange number, right? You don't really see it typically move that much. And then our non-farm numbers came in, and average hourly earnings went up a little bit, but then came in exactly as expected. But higher jobs back at a higher rate. So some of the headlines this morning are really focused around that. Particularly, and again, this is what I want to dive into is this Bostic information. So Bostic is kind of one of these guys that's I don't know, he's kind of all over the place, right? With the things that he says. And it's kind of weird. He's like, we gotta act fast, but we gotta be conservative. Like he's constantly playing both sides of the fence. Like I don't know if he's going for some type of political office or what it is, but um, he's all over the place, right? Talking about how the labor market still has a lot of momentum, and the labor market is where they were talking about the demand destruction needing to come from. And we saw the JOLTS data. JOLTS data is still really, really high. It was, 0.2 mil over what the expectation was. So it's not calming. And they said that's where a lot of the inflation at this point is actually coming from. So, you know, with that said, it's kind of like, hmm, what do we do? And we know what the path is. It's raising interest rates, right? Talking about how, the economy is strong, the labor market still has a lot of momentum. The economy is starting to slow though. Okay, a little bit, but we're still hiring back at a faster pace than you expected. And then this one, right? These jobs numbers show just only minor signs of slowing, right? So it's slowing, but only just a little bit. We need more sustained and more significant slowing, right? So we got to do more. I'm fully supportive of 75 basis points, which I think is absolutely, you know, they had their chance to do this a long time ago, and it's funny that now that they are talking about it now, um, as far as what needs to be done. Um, yeah, kind of crazy. I've had to adapt on where I think the policy should go. We need to move aggressively. Now, he said this aggressively thing before, but he hasn't actually meant, right? He hasn't actually meant aggressive in the past because he said it, but then done like a 0.25 or like, we don't want to go crazy, right? Well, we got to be, we got to be prudent. It's like, what are you talking about? But he actually said 0.75 this time, which I think is interesting because we had talked about, originally it was point five, point five, and then we got what we got. And then now the fact that he's saying, "Hey, listen, I'm fully supportive of the 7.5. Bullard's going to go in the 7.5, and the question is, who else is potentially going to go for that 0.75? So this is going to be a big jump. So our last raise kind of brought us in line with kind of leading the pack. Because remember, the UK has done like five in a row. Um, Smaller, obviously, right? They've done the smaller ones. So the next one, if we get a 0.75, the next one, absolutely without a doubt, we are going to blow right through parity with the euro. So I think these signs are pretty interesting, and we've seen a pretty good reaction from it. I mean, we've seen, if you look at the dollar, we saw an immediate pop, and everybody's like, "Holy crap, this is good!" And now we're seeing the pullback because again, everybody is trying to like, all right, how do we get long dollar? How do we get long dollar? How do we get long dollar? So there was a original spike, and again, they know Bostic has done this in the past, so it's not like it's you know, it's anything earth shattering. So very, very interesting in the comments that he's made. And again, we're going to see a bunch of different comments now throughout the day as far as, you know, other people's opinions. Because, if you really take it and dissect what we saw, like this number, everybody's so scared of a recession, right? And again, the jobs numbers are good, but what they were going to have to do is the recession is not coming from jobs and things like that, right? The recession is coming from rising interest rates, and at this point, jumping another 0.75, they were talking about targets of 3.5. If you think about where it is, they need to kill companies from basically hiring people. But at the same time, think about one of the sectors that has led to kind of some problems in the past. we already know that we're starting to get to really like crazy interest rates, right? For home, not crazy, but like not historically crazy, but near term millennial crazy, right? We're already seeing home sales go down, refis go to like, really, really lows. They jack the interest rate another 0.75. That puts them ahead of the end of the year target. Another 0.75 increase. What is that going to do to mortgages, right? Like interest rates, right? That's going to get a little bit nuts, and it could dry that entire arena up, and then people start seeing their home values drop. And remember, the home value isn't what leads to the recession; it's everything else that comes. But you start seeing, I say, home values drop, but like, hey, listen, we can't sell anything, so when you have to sell something, but nobody's willing to buy it, you have to lower the price. So home values have been increasing, but when nobody wants to take on a new mortgage and you got to move, you got to lower the price until someone's like, you know what, at that price, yes, it's worth taking it on there. Couple housing with them trying to kill demand for companies to hire new employees, there's kind of your recipe what a recession looks like. So, um, yeah, it's yeah, interesting stuff. Oh, hold on one sec, guys. I was like, wait, what do I got? Hold on one sec. Hold on one sec. One sec. There we go. Sorry, I looked down and I was like, oh wait, there's a tick on my leg. Gotta love living in the forest. Yep. I was like, why am I itching? I was like, oh, there's a tick on my leg. Yeah. All right. So anyway, um, again, very interesting numbers today. The market can take this in many different ways, and like I said, I think the talking heads today, the talking heads are going to be the kind of the big piece of what does the next step look like. Okay. Um, I wish I could tell you, I wish I could tell you, but I really just don't know. Oops, hold on. Why is it moving this way? There we go. So I think at this point, I think the emphasis is really going to switch over to how do we accelerate the demand destruction, and again, how fast does a recession kick in? I think they need to be super careful with the next 0.75 because I do think that will jack the market around a lot. And again, we know that there's a political nature to it as well. So obviously tomorrow, nothing. It's the weekend. Sunday, nothing. And again, interestingly enough, I have a boys tournament tomorrow. I have my tournament on Sunday. We'll see if I survive post COVID. And then Monday we have some Japanese data coming in. So, and I do think actually based off of today, I do think the BOJ Kuroda, I think they will mention what it's kind of what's going to happen in the U.S. because remember, strong dollar does affect them. Raising interest rates and things like that do affect them. So I think we'll may get some data out of the BOJ. All right. So with that, let's go over into the charts. Now, obviously, we're getting a little bit of I don't want to say stabilization. I'm gonna guess it is kind of stabilization, right? um, but we're seeing kind of really the dollar move around. Like I said, if this was anybody else but Bostic, it probably would have moved more. And the initial response, obviously, is seeing those numbers is, oh my God, this is strong dollar. But as you guys know, you guys have been around the channel enough. When everybody and their brother is trying to go long something, it typically goes in the opposite direction. So it's kind of doing what it's supposed to do. But you're seeing a lot of red over in the indices already. And again, kind of rightfully so. It makes sense why that's happening. So let's start off and go into the Aussie. Now, yesterday I was mentioning really kind of, oops, sorry. I was mentioning really trying to figure out how to get long this dollar for the news release. This is what the Aussie looks like. Now, talk about kind of just some crazy movement. And I'm going to bring this down to a 5 minute so you can see kind of how fast this actually happened. So we saw price come up and start stabilizing, and it was a 50% retracement. So if you look from the last high to low, you can see that again there was a zone, some flattening, and again we could have actually shrunk this down on the 5 minute and said, hey, listen, right between the 50 and the 61.8, we got a level, and that's actually where we came up at 645, and then we were holding inside of that zone. So a lot of times we talk about good, how do you get a good kind of pre-market type setup, and this is kind of one of those examples of how you get it, right? It came up, it stabilized. It was in the 50 between the 50, 61.8 from a high to low. So again, you already had an area there and it was confirmed. Look at that movement. This was awesome movement in a very short period of time, about 42 pips. The risk on it also very, very tiny, right? The risk on it was only about 7 pips. So, you know, really overall, I mean, just a rock solid, easy trade. Not much to say. And then again, you can see within 15 minutes, it retraced all the way back again. And you may say, well, why the heck did it did that? Well, it's because everybody and their brother was seeing this movement and trying to short it, be like, oh my God, we got a short, right? That's strong dollar. Well, unfortunately, everybody knows that, that's exactly what was going to happen. So that's where it's kind of funny. Right now, I would say I would probably look for this to turn and flip. A lot of the news is kind of factored and washed out of it at this point. Um, It just I just don't think there's gonna be much more from it. I think at this point, we're looking more for retracements than anything else. And again, you may say, "Well, is everything factored in the market already?" Kinda, right? I wanna say kinda. Um, the news piece of it anyway. The news piece of it anyway, if that makes sense. But if you look just a little bit above where we are, you could say, "Well, wait a second. Here's an area, kind of some basing. There's a little bit of a test," and you could say, "Well, we're really, really close." I would say yes. Yeah, I mean, this trade obviously is done at this point in time. You have to drop your fibs down a little bit lower. Actually, at this point, we would switch them because we touched the 78. Um, and kind of come back up in this range. You can see the 23.6, I think, is going to be an interesting level. Now, we are on a 5 minute candle, but you're seeing right now it pulling back, and there was buyers in there. So if we can break through, I think that's what brings it back down again. And the reason I went down to the lower time frame was basically because um, you know, with this much movement this fast with news, again, we're kind of talking about what retracements look like. And top to bottom, it's about 60 pips. So it's a decent runner, right? It's a decent runner. All right, let's go back up to 30 minutes so you guys can kind of see that one. So that's what we're looking at. Again, a very sharp whipsaw down, very sharp whipsaw back. I think the next points of stabilization, again, if we do turn and roll, we're really looking for this one to come. I don't want to say quite a bit farther, but at the same time, quite a bit farther, right? Um, Hold on, there we go. Yeah. So besides the news trade that's already done and out, again, it's Friday. You guys know my opinion on trading on Fridays, but again, easy non-farm payroll trade. I would say looking for a target down here is probably, and again, I don't remember that color. It would be this color and black. That would be kind of where I'd look for price to kind of turn and roll and kind of aim for. Again, not really looking for it as a buy area per se, but I think it's a decent target right now. Um, and again, why I say target, not buy, because again, we push it to the end. We've pushed it pretty deep again, so I don't think we'll take a bounce off of it. I do think it again. If you want to be more conservative, I say that's where your target level is. It's going to be right there. Okay. Again, that's where the last big kind of spike of things was. All right. Was there anything else on this one? I don't think so. I think we were it on that one. Yeah, that was it on that one. All right, Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen took a similar path. Again, kind of makes sense why it did that, right? Um, right now, yesterday we talked about kind of this. Again, our 1 to 3 was hit. It kind of came back up. If you didn't get out there, again, you never got stopped out. It pushed through, definitely broke through, and then again went all the way up. And we talked about this being a reversal point. Why? Again, ascending wicks, huge candle, and that's kind of what we're running into. So for me right now, I would say that Aussie Yen kind of has a setup right now. And again, the reason why I say that it kind of has a setup, it's obviously a parabolic move straight up. The Aussie dollar we've seen obviously, take kind of a turn, right? It's at an area where you can say, okay, is the strength coming back in? Well, the Aussie dollar going down because of dollar strength also weakens this a little bit, as well as you're going to get the yen play. So this one is kind of in play right now. Um, I don't have the Nadex platform up, but unfortunately, I think it's a little bit wonky right now. So again, take it for what it's worth. This was a level we talked about yesterday. Parabolic move in, turn, and it's reversing back again. And actually, 1 to 3 is right there. So you guys can see this one it's on its way. All right. Euro dollar. So Euro dollar had pushed all the way down. We got to a low of 1,007. So not quite the parity number. And again, we're really all over that parity number. It actually didn't have as much movement. It was already starting to kind of retrace back up again. And you can see on a 30-minute, it kind of spiked down at 8:30, spiked up a little bit, and now it's spiking back down again. Because this was such a large level, this is where this becomes a little bit harder. We drove into this one, and yes, it tried to give us that kind of weakness coming out of it. But again, it's a 4 hour base level, so we know 4 hour base levels have a lot of kind of resilience to them. Um, it's kind of what makes it harder to really kind of take a news trade. Now, I was really hoping that this would be a great trade setup. Unfortunately, it was the Aussie was where it was. It was just too close to the 4 hour. We'd already taken a bounce off of it. It only had what? It only had 40 pips to go, and we knew it was a large level. Again, just too much risk. There's just again a lot of the trades for me are does it have the ability to move that full distance? In this case, it didn't really. So again, we're just chopping back and forth sideways. Aussie was the way to play it. So, do we take a turn off this one next time? I'd say start being cautious with it. Look to see where it moves. At this point, I do think that this starts to really push back to the downside. Where it goes, oof, we need a couple comments. I really think our next big push, once we start gaining some momentum to the downside, um, I really feel like a parity is going to be our next push. There's obviously going to be something going on in here, right? Actually, let's see. On a 15, can I see it? Kinda. It's kind of sitting right there. Can I see it on a 5? Kinda. Kinda. It's a 5-minute level, but kind of sit in there. That's where I would look to see if we can break through that. That's where I would say, again, maybe throw a short position in there on its way down to parity. 1 to 3 is sitting right there. So not horrible, right? Not horrible. Let's see. What do we got? That's a break of what? God, it's so close. So close. Right there. And again, let's pull this down and mark that. That's not bad. 60 pip mover, right? Not a terrible, not a terrible trade, right? Right. So not bad, right? And again, it's obviously not a today thing. If it comes down, I doubt we're gonna have enough time. It's gonna be more of a tomorrow type thing. So, or not tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. So, but I do think again, if Bostic is on board with 7.5, we're gonna hear more 7.5s. That's when it's what's gonna drive us down. So, kind of hoping we don't break. I'm kind of hoping we pull back. We kind of do one of these and then end the week. If we can end the week there, I think that's awesome. I think then we go short next week and we look to hit parity next week on Tuesday or Wednesday. Would be what my kind of opinion would be. So again, it's not hard. It's not horrible. I don't mind it. You like it? I can be swayed, right? Euro pound. So Euro pound. We talked about coming down and having a few levels, and then you say we chunk through one, we chunk through a second one, we kind of chunk through. We got that kind of Harry Potter. We're looking for it to go a little bit lower, and we're kind of basing sideways. And again, it's kind of running out of steam, which is not uncommon. It is a Friday. Um, hold on one sec. I got a message. All right, there we go. So right now, I would say, if anything, again, I would say stay bearish this position. Look for the push to the downside. We do know there is a Harry Potter sitting here, and it's got pretty decent racetrack, and that's a break of 84.35. Again, we've pushed this one to the brink, and it supported itself twice. I would expect probably something similar. And again, you can see we're probing into it. It's getting lower, 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 lower. This is a little higher, but again, it's right around the news time, so it's not surprising. Um, I'd look for this one to drop. So again, what we do is we already have an alert set there right now. That alert is sitting here at 84.35, right? So it's right there. It's in close proximity. Um, yeah, look for that one to turn and drop. Euro yen. So Euro yen. We missed this one by a little bit. Now this was basically a European Open, right? 330. There's your European Open. Kind of this candle. 3.8. So you guys know. 3.8 pips is what that one missed by. Before it turned and reversed, and now we're kind of coming back down. Now, this was a level, right? Now we could have put this down to here, and you can see the 23.6 that absolutely zero. If you're looking for a basing level here, you can see that it was kind of confirmed, and that's what we just bounced off of. So it makes sense that that's where we return in reverse. I would say just like the euro pound for me in this one, I would say that bearish sentiment is kind of where we can go with this one. But is there going to be enough time today for it to actually happen? Um, that's kind of the big question, right? I would say maybe, but I think it's a little bit riskier. Now, fib wise, right? Fib wise, if you take top to bottom, you can see there is some basing here, and this is kind of where I think the kind of linchpin in it is going to come in at. That we're not going to be able to kind of get a full play out of it. It is a basing. I mean, again, we're on the 30-minute. You can see strong push in, hour and a half of slow, and then boom, we accelerated out with news. It did run into that level, so it is kind of a parabolic retracement move back down. It is about half of the way. Um, it was a pretty decent move down. It was about 80 pips to kind of reverse on that one. The hard part would have been kind of really grabbing the top of this one. And again, being able to grab it kind of at the bottom of the green where this really, I guess, confirmation wise, it would be right there. A little bit harder to set the risk level on it, but it is a decent reversal opinion. My opinion is it's a decent reversal level. I do think it comes back down. If you're already short this position, I think you're safe until 137.89. But again, very much news based. It's non-farm payroll day. You got to expect that in pretty much everything, right? Um, that's just that's what you're looking for, pretty much. Um, Pound dollar. So pound dollar again. We were looking for this to go up. It actually did the move much earlier than expected, right? It did it late last night, and it ended up not coming fully up. It was really kind of our target, and then shot all the way down. And then the Europeans. I mean, European session is right here. There's your European session move straight up. Now we were looking for this to go down at news time. Okay, news time was right. Hold on. Um, News time was right there. So we talked about downward movement. You can see this one had a decent move from there, about 82 pips. I did warn you yesterday and say that hey, this one was probably going to be a little bit more risky, a little bit harder to kind of deal with. But again, was it at a great level? Not really. It kind of pulled into here. Could you have gotten something out of it? Kind of. You could say, hey, listen, there was some basing sitting right here. Price was, the 830 candle was up here, so it had driven it ahead of time past. So yes, it was a short, but unfortunately, you weren't really in a zone when it came in. The red is the 830 candle. So again, you see the spike before. You were looking for a short, but it didn't really get up to the top. So I'd love to say this was the easy one. It wasn't. It was still again the Aussie was the better of the trades on this. There's just not really not enough for you really to kind of trade it. So yeah. So that's kind of it. Where do we do with this one next? Huh. I still think the 102.67 is a decent level. I'd want to see a confirmation off of it. We could actually, at this point, going into the weekend, this is actually not a bad kind of top, right? Decent shaped candle, decent base, decent push out of it. And again, we've kind of pulled away. We're down about 60 pips. So, um, yeah, I would say, for Sunday night, this could be a probable, a potential area. 120.42. And again, like I said, I think we're going to get a lot of news next week about dollar strength. Obviously, there's the geopolitical piece of it that we're going to get from, you know, obviously the UK. But for the most part, it's probably a decent level. Let's see. Oh, this needs to be adjusted slightly down. Mm, Yeah, yeah, I'd say right now my two kind of levels of looking for shorts are 121.42. Again, that's a 50% retracement level. There is a basing level there before popping down. There's a target at 120.67, and again with a confirmation bounce, kind of a Sunday up there. A Sunday morning, like Sunday night rally into that. I could look for a reversal for that or the 120. Now downside, I feel like we got to talk about this level. It did base. It hasn't tested it yet. It's about 76 pips away. Hmm. Changes the yellow. find that down. Um, 118.95. So it's right around that 119 mark. Um, hmm, yeah, I'd say today look for this destruction down, and then again, if we can get into that level for some type of an opening night setup, I think that could be a some type of maybe Sunday night into kind of Monday morning AM US time, maybe some type of a reversal level. Um, again, just before the US trader gets online, I think we could get a pop into there. Probably the best setup. Yeah, I see this deteriorating more or less for the rest of today. Um, what do I do with that one? It's a tough one. Yeah, what I'm debating is looking at this level right here and wondering if that's kind of the target for today, right? It's only about 45 more pips, so it makes sense that it can get down there. And again, it is a base. It's spent a lot of time there, kind of in the middle of the day, so I don't like it. It did confirm off of it at a European move, so it is a legitimate tested level at this point. Um, I'm wondering. I almost feel if we can get down to there, I mean, we can definitely get there. It's only 45 more pips. That could also be a Sunday night open. And then when we get a Sunday night open, maybe look for the pop there before a U.S. session trade comes in, and then we go short again. And it looks, something like that is what I'd be looking for. That wouldn't be, super super surprising. Wait, what? Why is Kid making noise? Hold on one sec. What is he doing? Hold on, Melissa just messaged me. I'm trying to figure out if I need to grab Kid real quick. No. Okay. All right. So pound yen. So pound yen, kind of the same thing. What we saw, we mentioned kind of this level. Now, this is a level we've already gone through at one time. We started seeing some basing, so you tend to see, um, some reversals. Now, I'm going to pull this back a little bit because there was the trade from yesterday, and again, it's kind of a violated zone. It's another zone there. We've hit it. We've gone in there and base. So it's like, listen, we got to find a new level. We can't take another short. There's your new level. There's your drive up into it. So it kind of makes sense, right? It kind of makes sense of where it should have turned. What do we do with it now? I would say be very cautious with the pound yen. We have this little level right here. It's kind of in the middle. We are pulling back again. It would have been your target for the downside again if you're looking for this one. And I said yesterday, not necessarily the best trade to take for non-farm payroll. Your 1 of 3 is actually sitting right there. It's right in the middle of the zone. Could you have taken it? Sure. I mean, it did meet other requirements. Again, we did have a base right above. We know we're inside of that range. So again, strong push out. It did rally right into there at that, 830 is kind of right. It needed just a little bit more help and then started to come and roll. So you could have traded it. It was technically a post trade kind of, I don't want to say parabolic retracement type move because again, it was already moving in that direction. Um, but eh, like I said, you could have traded it post, and it would have been just fine. With kind of a little bit of a rollback down. All right. I'd say right now, the areas I'm kind of boxing off on this one going into the weekend is kind of here. And again, didn't touch here, but we did touch here. So I would say let's bring this in and talk about this is kind of your potential bottom. Obviously, we need to respect the top here. And this is kind of, if I'm going to mark off tops and bottoms right now, I'm going to say that there's kind of our top. Um, hmm, this is a hard one because it's a level on top of a level, right? You have one level there, excuse me, and then you have another level kind of sitting right there. We'll mark this one green, and then that gives us the front run area there. I would say that these are the major levels that you're looking at. Um, how many pips is that? It's 20. We got plenty of time. I'm kind of looking at this now and saying, hey, wait a second. We got a little bit of a racetrack right there. If we can base in there, could we take a Harry Potter down? And the answer is probably. How much movement have they got? Okay, they're accelerating a little bit. Mm. All right. This is a level I want you guys to watch out for on Sunday night. If we are unable to break through this and come down again, this could be a Sunday night trade, particularly with the BOJ speaking on Sunday night, right? Particularly with the BOJ speaking on Sunday night. Hmm, it's an interesting. Kind of like that one. I just, I hate these Friday afternoon trades. But again, if we come in a base, it technically meets all the rules. And once the pound shuts off, it'll be just the yen. If we accelerate on the indices, that should push this down some more. Oof. Yeah, there could be a trade in there. Anyway, if you're in a trade right now, you know where your target needs to be. And again, you're getting pretty close to it. We'll see if 1030 is going to kind of turn and really kind of mess and reverse this one. Um, Man, that's interesting. I like that setup. I wish this was like Wednesday because I'd be like, yep, I love the short. But Friday afternoon is a whole different equation. Hmm. I'd love to say do it, but I feel like we're gonna run out of steam on it. But again, I'm not infallible. I could be wrong. We could definitely get that base, that retest at lunchtime, and then by the end of the day, get this thing to push all the way down. So those are the two levels I'll be watching for. And again, this one is more of a short, not necessarily. Oops, it's not a long, but right around that 162.86. Um, Dollar Cat. So Dollar Cat is so weird. So we ended up hitting it. We came back again. You can see the chop back and forth again. It really here's the 8 o'clock. We're exactly where we were at 8 o'clock today. This number would have been very very hard to trade today, just because again it's kind of strong U.S. But also at the same time, people look at this Canadian number and be like, "What the heck do you do with this?" Right? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Um, There you go. Recent volatility has exposed serious vulnerabilities in the crypto financial system, right? Um, we should act before crypto becomes too big, interconnected. Sure. U.S. should act swiftly to toughen oversight of currencies. Yes. This is why it did do that. As it worked to future proof our stability. Yeah, exactly. Such as leverage, settlement, opacity, and maturity. And yeah, yeah, I mean, all these things are the right thing. I mean, for crypto to be considered actually legitimate, all these things are important. You need to have them. I don't know if they're going to be able to oversee them in a positive way, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, she's saying all the right stuff. Um, you notice that she's not mentioning anything about the labor markets, right? She has removed herself from the labor market discussion. Anyway, CAD very very difficult to play right now. Again, we are kind of playing in this realm. Just throw some fibs on there just so you guys can see it as well. That's kind of what we're dealing with. Would this have been a 50? You could, but again, kind of an odd. There's nothing over there, and an odd time, right? You're going to take this at 10 o'clock at night, bouncing off a 50 with nothing over there, and you could have. I mean, it came back up and gave us another entry, but and as you can see, had you taken this for a second entry, there was your first one out. Um, if I take the second one, where is it? Right there. You can see that it came up and would have got stopped right there, right? So again, 3/4 of the way, and then news would have spiked you through before going into full profit. So again, that's why you typically do not necessarily hold trades that are 2/3 of the way there for news, because all it did was it whipped everybody out and then came down and broke through the bottom side. So yeah, yeah. Um, Dollar CAD, I will say, I do, I, 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 I do think there's something in here, right? It is the 50. There's a little bit of an area there. The CAD data technically, I would say if I had to lean to one of the two sides, I would say the CAD data was technically on kind of the more positive, kind of better side of things. Um, I don't know if we're going to get this much dollar strength destruction though. Is kind of the way that I'm looking at this. Um, hmm. I think there can be a trade in here. I'm going to say it right now. I think there can be a trade in here when we have that dollar weakness coming in. I like the 1 to 3 range on it. There's a little hiccup here, but you know, you're going to run into something. This was such a fast run up in there. Um, like I said, I don't know when it's going to happen. If you want to throw an alert on there, I think put that in there, the 129.53. I'd like to retrace this back again. I think overall we bring this thing back down to this 128.50 range. I think that's where kind of the overall target is. Like I said, I mean the cat unemployment rate is skyrocketing to the downside. Ours is going back up again. Obviously, the 0.75 thing coming in, yes, that does affect it, but you know, I feel like this is just a technical basis, kind of a recycling of funds. So um, take it for what it's worth. All right. Um, yeah. And then again, top side, we're still looking at that 131 target for this one. Dollar Swiss. So dollar Swiss, we mentioned we're like, yeah, we're looking for this. And it's 98.05, and we're getting close. And again, pre-market, again, the news on this one did nothing but rallied up. You can see the Europeans sent it straight down. Obviously, they wanted to get a better buy on it. It popped over. Since the news came out, it's moved about 38. It's not bad, but like I said, the Aussie was much easier grab on this one. Um, we're still grinding up there. Again, you can see that the 50 did absolutely nothing. It sliced through and then kind of pulled over and then kind of is now acting as kind of like a base level. Um, Again, I think we see Swiss weakness coming next week with some of the reports that we have. Um, you know, is this it? I don't know. I just don't think there's enough movement in this one right now for me. So hold on one sec. Why does she keep messaging me? All right. Next one. Let's see here. Uh, dollar yen. All right. So dollar yen. We talked about this level. I think it was yesterday. We had this one marked off. You can see, right? Kind of that sawtooth, right? Sawtooth into a pop. Those are levels that we like, particularly on some type of a parabolic move. As you can see, we definitely at 8:30 this morning got a parabolic move up. Unfortunately, we got front run by just a little tiny bit. And look at this parabolic retracement move back to the downside. This one missed entry by 2.1. So barely, barely the spread, right? Barely the spread. And again, we couldn't really cheat on this one. You couldn't really do much more because it's supposed to be from the drop down. But how about that for a parabolic retracement move? You know, um, I like it. It looks good. But at the end of the day, you missed the entry on it. So it sucks. Um, what do we do with it now? Probably not much. We did have a Harry Potter trade kind of listed here. Um, in that Harry Potter trade, we never got an entry. It kind of spiked down and came right back up. And then it spiked down and came back up again. And it kind of spiked down and came right back up again. Three attempts. We got basing in there, but it wasn't really, you know, wasn't really I want to say it wasn't necessarily a clean. Oops. It wasn't a clean one. So not one that we want to use for the future. So it is what it is. But it's kind of over. It's kind of done. Kind of passed. Not much we can do with it. So right now, I would expect this to come back down. I think it's going to have some issues. Um, I really think this entire area here is going to be kind of it's going to if it goes lower, it's going to have to grind because there's buyers here, there's buyers here. We know that they've seen here. They've kind of retested off of again. It's going to chop in. I think really right now, I'm looking for some stabilization in this one. I think right now for me, the target's down at this 135 level. Let's turn this solid just so we can kind of see it. Um, I think this 135 level is what matters, and then really we'll start kind of dealing with this zone here. I mean, it's got a few tests in, but right now, again, so much chop back and forth in here. It's that old level again. All this basing, all this basing, all this basing, chopped through, but came back up and stabilized, and then kind of supported itself. So I just don't feel that there's a great trade opportunity off of this one right now. So sucks. Cryptos, you can see they are coming back down again. They had a nice spike, right, late last night, and then they are kind of chopping back down again. Ethereum, same pattern, just a little bit worse. Doji, same exact pattern, just a little bit worse. We're under the 7 again. Bonds you're seeing, again, have a very choppy day. People are looking at this, trying to figure out, hey, what the heck do we do with this, right? So It's all right. I mean, like I said, I think bonds with that 0.75, the more we hear about the 0.75, I think this continues to drop to the downside. So just again, if we get it. Crude oil. So crude oil, we did get our API, report. Again, big surplus on that one. Again, that came out or 2 days ago, so we may have seen this one continue to push to the downside. Again, they're delaying, all these coming out. We saw the push down, and again, we knew we got that on the 6, and we're doing nothing but rallying up. So there was a push in. It did get all the way out, right, for the news, right? Again, it was out. It's done. It's over. 61.8 has not hit yet. Um, Areas that I wanted to mark off on this one. Again, it's a 78.6, and again, that means nothing to me, but there are people that really like that one. Right now, any push forward, any bullish momentum, there's nothing that we can slow this down. So it's kind of one of those ones. If you want to set yourself an alert, 108.11 is going to be a magic number for this one, I think, to be able to take this and go short. Besides that, other levels, I think obviously 100 has an area right here, kind of that little sawtooth effect again. That would be kind of the opposite side. So right now, if I had to kind of bracket this one off, I would say that 108.11 on the top side, and really the $100 mark down here are really kind of my tops and bottoms. We're kind of sitting in the middle. You may say, is there a Harry Potter in here? Kinda, kinda. I mean, it's lower, 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 kind of at the same rate. There's just not a 1 to 3 from where we'd have to draw this one. We'd have to draw the risk level probably there. There's not necessarily a 1 to 3 in there for us to be able to take off of it. So, you know, next push through. Next push through this. What is it? 105. I think it's 105. Yeah. Next push through 105. It looks like 108.11 is going to be our target because we had this nice little drop. Um, Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a rough one too because, again, the Russian thing is kind of dissipated at this point. We're not really seeing much out of it. Again, we don't really have much U.S. fundamental news, and again, we're seeing more hiring back again, which is more of a positive sign for oil. So yeah, don't really love this one. So like I said, I'm cool with it under 100. I'd like to get it back down there. Right now, I could see it coming down, and if anything, if I had to kind of make a draw on it, with the talk of the labor markets being good, oil is going to end early. But if we come down, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another kind of pop in that direction, right? So it's all right. Natural gas a little bit lower, but again, it just had a huge spike. This is just nothing but profit taking. We talked about a Harry Potter. If we broke through that one, we blew through it with the inventory report yesterday. There's kind of where we're sitting, looking for retracement. I do think this one comes back down again. Um, Most likely, if I had to make a call, I would say that this is probably where the target's going to be on there. It's really the origin of the move, and again, we're a little bit too early. Probably August 1st time frame is where we should really start here, and at the end, maybe not August 1st, maybe kind of the last week that we're like 3 weeks away before we really start hearing about what that winter gas storage is going to look like. So, um, yeah, we got some time on it. Yeah, I think this one fully retraces back. Is what I would say. Not much more than that. So gold. You look at a gold, and again, we were talking about a potential pop through, and we never got it. Interestingly enough, gold isn't really a mover today. It's up. It's up a little bit, right? 0.17. You're saying, wait a second, there's no movement whatsoever in here, and it's kind of using this old level, and we don't really need this old level. It's been hit plenty of times at this point. We can take our fibs down. Actually, I guess hold on. That's the level we were talking about, right? I don't think we actually made it all the way through. Let's see. Yep, 1 to 3 is right there. So yeah, it did actually work. Um, and the reason they're over there is because we did this on a larger time frame. So it did kind of come through from that base, right? And then it was an old level. Again, I think gold would have been a little bit risky to trade today, but you can see it's very fast. 8 o'clock came up and actually touched. 8:30 is what drove you through. So it would have been a very fast gold trade. I think the risk on it would have been a little bit high. I didn't really like the movement beforehand. Again, all you had was basing between two levels, and we're still kind of at the same exact spot. Gold and silver right now are the exact same movement, 0.14, or actually 0.13 up. Neither of them are giving you really a great entry, so not much you can do with it, right? Um, Again, you would expect to see more. Remember, just a number is not really enough. A comment from Bostic is not really enough. If Pal or somebody else talks about it, if Pal says the same thing as Bostic says, then we finally have kind of what we need for the movement for this one. But right now, again, you know, inflation is what moves gold, not necessarily, an employment report. So a little bit different, but yeah, Friday. Silver looks exactly the same. Silver, look at this, dead, no movement. I mean, silver's been doing this, right, trending up and down. Whoops, that's what silver's doing right now. And again, who knows what the heck's going to happen with inflation, right? Raising the interest rates to crush it. I mean, we're not, we know what the inflation number is. We know that the market is slowing a little bit, but it's not slowing at the same rate. You know, is the slowing not at the same rate? Is that the go ahead for them to do the 0.75? And what does the 0.75 do to inflation on the next reading? I do think this is again with today's data. I do think that this will, I don't want to say empower, but like maybe embolden a little bit the Fed for that 0.75. I do think that is definitely a bearish signal. And again, anytime we have PAL or FOMC, or maybe even Bullard, um, or if we get a couple other people saying things about how 0.75 seems prudent, because again, we're seeing the slowing, it's working, but it's not going to the rate we want. Um, I think that's what sends us back down again. So I think silver is definitely a short as well. But again, there's, talking about well-defined levels on a Friday afternoon doesn't make any sense. But I think next week we definitely look for this kind of break of 1830 all the way back down to the 1883 all the way back down to the 1840 range. Um, let's look at the VIX right now. So obviously the VIX is gapping and kind of all over the place, but the news is out, so the VIX is dropping like it should. That makes sense. Again, no more major surprises. Let's see if there's any other headlines. Wholesale inventories increased solidly. Where did they come in at? Yeah. Yeah. It was supposed to be point 0.2. Came in at 1.8. Williams is speaking right or Williams actually speaks. Where's he speaking? Uh, Hosting an event, but which one is it? Hmm. Oh, he's speaking. Hosted by the university. Okay. I don't know. It's kind of like eh. I don't know. Williams could say something based off of today's number, so there could be something in there. But the whole wholesale inventory, this I'm not super concerned about. So, but yeah, I mean, every factor that could be driving the VIX is out. So let's drop this one down. Now, again, obviously, this is going to be a little bit more difficult with something like non-farm payroll. Our 830 is right here. And again, makes sense that it went all the way down, and then makes sense that it retraced back up again for 930, and then it makes sense that it went down again. So it did all the right stuff. Here would have been your zone, right? And again, into news, yes, it would have been a news-based trade today, so it would not have qualified. 915, 930, it would not have you would not have got the trigger back in again. Had you traded it for news, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Funny how it came and bounced right off of that one too. That one we didn't need. So again, news wise, you could have traded it as far as the 15-minute opening prints. That wouldn't have mattered. And again, funny enough that it came over and used that level. So let's clean this up a little bit for next week. And actually, again, if you would have used this as the high, there's your 630 and there's your 8. So you would have already been short. So it's a level we got to respect up top. Again, 3906, right? 3906 is the level. I still think we look for this if we have any type of major pullback. Buyers. Hmm. I don't really love a lot of the buying over here. I don't like a lot of this price action. Let's see. Did we have some fib people come in and help with that one? Yeah, we did. Get right down to here. I mean, here's your spike. There's your Um, Question is, can this 3906 overpower a Feel Good Friday? Hmm. I don't know. I feel like the Feel Good Fridays, negative as everything's been lately. And again, we had a little bit of positives coming yesterday. I feel like the Feel Good Friday is probably going to overpower today. Just because, again, everybody's afraid of the recession of what's going to come. But if you look to see what's happening right now, we hired more people back than we thought we were going to hire. That's more people working. That means that more people are getting paid, means more people are going to spend money. It's a strong sign for the economy, right? Technically, that's good for the indices, right? What they do with it later on down the road, not so good. But right now, it's technically a good sign. So, question is, do we come through? That level there is a pretty decent. That's a pretty strong pushback. Let's mark. We're gonna mark this one yellow. Once I drag it, we'll just do it now. Look at that. One of three is right there. So I would say that there's your Feel Good Friday rally. If you're trying to get into a Feel Good Friday rally, this one is a break of 30, 39, 14, 25. And you'd be looking to take targets right there at 39, 37, 75. So if you're looking for a Feel Good Friday rally, there you go. Like I said, like to see it kind of push through and then pull back and take off. I'd like to see a confirmation entry for it, but it's kind of set up that direction. And again, the data today is actually good for the indices, right? Going forward, not so much, right? Um, you're not you're not loving the forward-looking action there. Hold on, let's move this up real quick. But yeah, so there's one rally. NQ. So NQ, yeah, 8:30 drove us down. So again, would not have qualified for a Harry Potter because news drove it through. So we would remove that. We don't need this. We don't need this. Let's pull our fibs up. Um, Missed the low side. I think on this one kind of has a feel good Friday set up for it as well. But I think the level right here is going to be a little bit stronger. This one has two kind of levels to chunk through. So the touch of this, the last time it touched here, it got hammered back to the downside pretty good. Um, this one off too. Hold on. Talk about where these could potentially go to. So I think this one's gonna have a little bit harder of a time coming through here. The 12 ones, like I said, the last time it's been front run once and hit and just boom, just hammered down. So there's definitely some sellers in there. And again, we just basically grazed it and it got turned. So NQ is the weakest. So again, obviously we have 3 out of the 4 now in green territory. We are approaching 1030. So again, it is rallying back up again. If you're looking to go short one of these today, I would say that this would probably be the one I would want to take short. I like it more, and like I said, it could get front run off this level. It is close enough in proximity with a 1030 kind of window. But we get anything even statement wise negative. There's what a 1 to 3 looks like. Again, if this can rally right up, there's nothing stopping that from coming back down into this 1200 range. So if you're looking for longs and you're more bullish today, going with the Feel Good Friday feel, that's looking more like an ES trade. If you're looking for negative, wait for it to get a little bit low, a little bit higher. And again, it looks like NQ is the you know, obviously the way to take this one south. There's a level that's been very strong and it hasn't really breached there at all. I think that's great. YM, again, chopping back and forth, kind of the same thing. Again, extend that up again. This one did not hit the 23.6. Sorry, 23.6 traders. Oops. Let's put this there. Put that across. Yeah, same thing. Look, really not a lot in the way. So if we're gonna do a kind of a Harry Potter on this one, probably do it through that level there. And look at that, straight down from that news. And again, it's kind of what we were looking for. But um, Yeah, if we can get a decent push, I think that's not bad. YM is the second strongest. So yeah. And again, if we can get a decent push up, maybe at lunchtime, pull back, and then look to go. And again, it may not go today. Like I said, it's got to get through. I mean, problem is NQ is sitting there with that huge level. But again, if you like your Feel Good Friday, I think the ES is a decent one. I like the ES. I think the YM one is also decent. And again, YM is a little bit stronger than ES. But as far as the 15-minute, why we look at these on the lower time frames, it would not have qualified. I mean, it did go straight down again, so it was technically in a level. So I guess actually, um, there's your 930. I guess actually technically this did qualify for it. Um, one of threes right there. So yeah, it actually this one did work. Um, so one out of the three so far, right? But again, looking for that 830, it did exactly what it should have done. So I mean, two news trades at 830, and then again, this actually did come up to a level of basing. So this one on a purely technical basis, not knowing there's any news there, this one technically was a win, right? It was a win, as well as a trap, right? As well as a trap. So that was decent. What we got Russell wise? Yeah, Russell, I'm not surprised. And again, look at this. Spent way too much time chopping through for that one to be a Harry Potter trade. Let's extend this up to there. Again, 23, but I wouldn't have traded that one off the 23. There's a small zone sitting in there. I don't necessarily love it. Let's see. There's probably more of our base. Again, kind of the same thinking. You're going with a feel good Friday. There would be your trade setup on that one. Taking price up to 1785. So 1785. So yeah, it's the same as the other ones. And again, Russell is technically the strongest right now. Um, but like I said, it's got to punch through and then pull back. If it turns here, obviously it's not a trade setup. NQ looks like it's the one that's struggling the most. And again, we're right at 1030. This is where the peak could be. This is where the turns are coming in. And God, I hope we didn't get front run on that one. Um, hope we didn't get front run on it. So, but what else we got here? What else is moving? Twitter chopping back and forth, not doing a whole lot. Apple pushing high, right? Apple pushing high. Into some kind of a gap and some chop, so that one's kind of at risk. And then, whoa, Tesla. Why is Tesla insane here? Look at Tesla driving through today. Was there Tesla news today? Huh. Tesla is said to halt production at German factory for 2 weeks, and the market loves it. Loves it. So there's your Tesla. It's kind of funny for headlines. Yeah, let's have something here. Actually, let's mark this one off. So it looks like if Tesla rallies up to 772, looks like we get to be short. It's pretty close. Another 20 bucks. Turn and roll. Could be there. All right, let's see if there's any additional headlines. Probably not until Mester starts speaking. No, that's weird. Poor Abe. Um, no, just all year. It's just. Oh, ouch. I didn't see that. I know that he collapsed. I saw that, but I guess it says he's pronounced dead. Whoops. Yeah, he's the former prime minister, but ouch. Hmm. It's kind of interesting. I didn't. I knew that he collapsed, and I saw something in here. Oh, Abe's assassination shocks the world. Okay, yeah, I missed that one. Ouch. Sorry, Abe. Hmm. I'll have to look at that some more. So, all right. With that said, guys, let's go ahead and do let's do the drawing for today. get out of here on a Friday. Hopefully, you guys have some good weekend plans. Like I said, I got 3 kids games tomorrow, maybe a fourth, and then I have 3 games on Friday or on Sunday. So I'm hoping I do not perish myself this weekend. We'll find out whether how bad the COVID got my lungs. We'll see. So, all right, we got 6 of you in. No Sean today. We got everybody else in here. Our usual suspects in. Um, Eki in as well. All right, let's close it down. Winner of today's draw. Oh, Ernest is going for 3 today. I just wanted to make sure that he's aware. Winner of today's drawing is, look at that, Will stealing with the 1. Yeah, your kids need you. Yeah, I mean, no, I'm hoping, like, I've been able to run around a bit with the kids, but then I get home and I'm dead. Can I play 3 lacrosse games? I don't know. I normally I'm dead after a tournament day for the kids, so I have the tournament day for the kids, which is going to be rough, and then I have a tournament on Sunday. The one good thing about it is it is in an older group. I am play with my normal team, so I don't, with those guys, I don't, I do play select positions, um, and it is on fields that are smaller than regulation, which is okay. So it's not as much running, so I'm kind of cool with that. Yeah, I know. Can I? Do they have those? Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Ernest. That's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah. There's a couple guys that are medics on the team, so you're like, hey, bring your oxygen tank. I'm gonna need it. So, yeah. All right, let's mark this as complete. Let's give Will his pip chips. Will locked in there for first place. All right, all good. So, with that said, yeah, Amazon. Okay, I'm gonna. I wonder if we get overnighted. Come on, Prime. Come on, Prime. Right. So we'll see. Like I said, I still have this cough. It's like coming back, but we'll see. It's probably because I've been outside a ton. I like didn't go outside for 2 weeks, so I didn't have any allergies, and then I went back outside again, and we've had like literally rain. We're in that summer where it's like Florida, where it rains every single day, and for me, allergy wise, is more like mold driven, and because obviously we don't have, you guys heard the story, we don't have grass. It's just we live back in the woods, so we have just natural ground. Obviously, when there's like a week straight of rain, it kind of sucks. So get more mold, and yeah, it just kills me. So we'll see. But anyway, you guys all have a great weekend. Good trading today. Again, maybe we will get that feel good Friday. We'll see. Again, Tesla driving forward. We'll see if Tesla's the turning point. Yeah, everything is in the green right now. So again, a lot of these indices trades are really trying to get up there and kind of punching through. And Russell's the same way. So they're all moving. And like I said, I don't think there's no other news. And we have a Fed person getting ready to speak in a little bit. So we'll see. With that said, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one, and I'll catch you next week. Take care.